Hi everyone, if you enjoy what I do, then I think you'd enjoy my short collection of short stories and new paranormal thriller, available now on Amazon. Please make sure to subscribe and consider becoming a Patreon. Enjoy the video! Dying Light is not what I would call a horror game. How could it possibly be when you're basically a discount Spider-Man with an electrified scythe and a whole lot of bloodlust? No, for me Dying Light, in terms of its moment-to-moment gameplay, is more of a straight-up action RPG with horror elements. Really well done horror elements, to be fair, but ultimately they are mostly parts of the game that can be skipped entirely if you're that way inclined. No, the true horror of Dying Light stems from its world and the impeccable environmental storytelling at work. Apartments littered with personal effects, echoes of lives broken or lost, rifled shelves and half-packed bags, indicating a hurried escape, or worse. The mere environment is incidental, however, if not for those who once inhabited it. Not just content to portray the shambling undead clad in generic tattered rags, like so many other zombie properties, even its own sequel, Dying Light goes out of its way to personify its walkers, give them a distinct visual style, hinting at their former lives. Athletes dressed in shorts and jerseys, builders in overalls, soldiers in uniform, and tourists looking like they've come straight from the beach. And while there's not a huge variety in their individual features, it's more than enough to make you feel bad when you inevitably lodge a climbing axe in their skull. That's not even addressing the special infected, the virals, potentially runners from the tower until a few short hours ago, who have just enough humanity left to beg for mercy when struck.
Please, no, die!
Giving a chilling insight into what could happen to you unless you make but one misstep. Then there are the goons, workmen who slowly decay over the days, showing all too clearly the kind of toll the zombie virus takes on the human body. Put simply, Dying Light does not present its biters as an endless horde to be gleefully mowed down, and although they can be treated like that if you wanted, what they really are the untold victims of a human tragedy. Amongst the multitude of story missions, which run the gambit from bland to genuinely exciting, and fetch quests that define the very definition of tedium, there are a few side missions that really bear out the horror and futility of the world. Now I'll give a warning now, most involve children, because Dying Light is nothing if not willing to put everyone through the ringer equally. There's kids playing detective only to have their dog killed and eaten by a cannibal, the old man roped into caring for a nursery full of orphans, who can't bring himself to put his zombified wife out of her misery, and the guy whose house was on top of a volatile nest and ended up screaming for death as he was mutated into one of the Night Stalkers. There is one mission in particular, however, which will stay with me forever, one that I think hammers home the real horror and tragedy of a zombie apocalypse like no game has before. Probably the most horrific of the special infected in Dying Light is the Screamer. The zombified children who lurk in their old homes, waiting for their parents who will never return. Their lonely sobs can be heard before they're even seen, luring in altruistic saviors, only to have them mobbed by the infected when the child inevitably starts to scream, drawing in virals from all around. While they're introduced in one of the more unnerving story missions, forcing you to calm them before you're overrun, the impact of the mission is largely undermined by explosions and smiley faces. Where they really stand out though, is in the side quest of the following DLC, named We Don't Go There Anymore. As the obvious Ravenholm reference may suggest, the mission revolves around a town completely overrun by the undead. How is that any different from any other town in Haran, you may ask? It's because this one has demons, or so the stories say, and you are the man sent to soothe those hellspawn. In actual fact, the town is populated with an overabundance of the aforementioned screamers, and while most are located in seemingly random places, including one up a tower for some reason, there is one that is truly heartbreaking. And sure, this might be the dad in me coming out, but in one instance you gain entry to a house only to find a screamer in its playroom, stood next to its zombified father, still watching TV. The scene itself is so simple, but at the same time, in my opinion, it's the most powerful in the whole game. I can just imagine it, a father and son rushing home during the outbreak, only to be caught and each bitten, potentially by a neighbour or even friend, either unknowing of what would happen to them or unable to end it before it started. The father puts the television on to calm his panicked child, and together they watch and slowly turn together. Although there's another screamer in the town with an almost equally tragic story, hidden down a well and left to fend for itself, it's the simplicity and normality of a father and child simply watching television that makes this moment so effective, because that could be any of us. Between all the fancy climbing and stylistic zombie murder, it's the moments we can relate to that are the scariest and show the real human horror of Dying Light. Thank you for watching everyone. It's not until you run across a sequence like this that you realise just how good a game is. Good of course being a relative term, being that it's actually deeply traumatizing. And even though you can judge Dying Light as so purely based on its campaign, I will stand by the fact that it's the side missions and world itself that make this game what it is. Anyway, please subscribe if you like what you saw, and become a patron or channel member if you want to support me that bit more. Other than that, have a great day, and I will see you next time.